All right, so people are asking about it already. SummerSlam Fallout. I put a tweet up. It might have been my most interacted tweet ever outside of when I was with WWE. I just said, is Roman now the top babyface in WWE over Cody? And I will say, not an exaggeration, I think 2 people said no. Immediately. Yes, 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 absolutely, yes, absolutely, yes. You know what the other response was? He has been. He has been. And I thought that was an interesting response. And people said that. Why? Because the chance started the week of WrestleMania, the week after WrestleMania. People were asking for Roman. The whole, and a lot of stuff that we talked about here, a lot of stuff. And maybe because it was too obvious, a lot of stuff that we talked about on this very show did indeed happen on SummerSlam. And a lot of you said the same things. I'm not going like, well, I called it. Maybe because we were able to call so many things, it was a little too obvious. Because for the most part, I have to shut my own self up there. But for the most part, I think everything kind of went to plan. Maybe the only toss-up was who was walking out of the WWE Women's Championship match with the title. It was Nia. She beat Bayley. Tiffy ran out. There was no cash-in. Tiffy and Nia on the same page. Everything else, though, I think followed what everyone expected. That's what I took from it. That's what I got from it. Love to know if you guys thought the same. Did anything surprise you at SummerSlam? Did anything that they did go, I did not see that coming? Even Roman. And listen, big pop should have happened. Sometimes that's fine. Sometimes, you basically tell people he's showing up with how much he was mentioned and how much he was brought up, which is fine. I know people tuned into SummerSlam over the weekend, not to watch Solo Sikoa fight Cody Rhodes, but to watch Roman Reigns come out at the end of that match. And he might be your biggest star again. Of course, you want people to think about that. It's okay to have the surprise. If the surprise didn't happen, you let people down. So the fact that so many people are like, absolutely, he's a bigger babyface than Cody. I was a little surprised to see everyone just be like, yeah, absolutely. Roman being back, expected. The one thing that was interesting, because I talked about, well, how do you handle Cody in this situation? What do you do with Cody? How does that work? How do you not lose him in the whole thing? So bloodline rules, everything's going on, and Kevin and Sammy come back to take out Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga. They go away. And Jacob comes out, and he seems to take care of Cody, and he maybe gets hurt, maybe didn't get hurt. I know he's in the walking boot, but I will say it kind of made sense that like he hurt himself because you didn't want Roman. I don't think you want to get into Roman and Jacob yet. I thought that actually made sense to keep them apart. And you don't want Roman fighting off the top 2 people in the current bloodline. You don't want him to easily fight that off. Instead, he takes care of Solo, who had already been through a match, who'd already been beaten down by 3 guys. Excuse me. But, man, did they linger on Cody and Roman. I mean, they stayed on that and stayed on that. I mean, Roman, they got every shot they could of Roman and Cody. Cody didn't take his eyes off Roman the entire time. Even as he hit his finish and got the pin. He's looking at, and they stay on that. And then they take that shot after of Solo and Jacob with him. But that's what got pushed to the background. Roman and Cody was the focus. Now, and I guess Cody said it in that another fantastic, totally useful press conference. I'll get to that. I don't want to go off on a tangent. That's a whole other conversation. And that's not a WWE conversation I'm going to have about that. But Cody and Roman, Cody addressed it after, hey, we got to do it a third time. We got to do it. And that's obvious. I happen to think, and maybe it's not the third, maybe it's the fourth, maybe it's a year or two down the road, that there's an outstanding, massive money-making heel Cody, babyface Roman WrestleMania title match down the road. Or maybe it's just a thing, maybe it's just one-on-one because those names are big enough. I do think that's in play. Are we going to see Roman on SmackDown this week? What's the next interaction with Roman and Cody going to be like? Look the same, right? He had that juiced up music, original tribal chief. See, him saying he's the original tribal chief lends itself to, well, he's focused on the bloodline. But man, he has been announced for SmackDown. All right, there you go. As he should be. I mean, but what does that look like? What's the promo? Who does he direct it at? To me, those looks back at Cody were, you owe me one. No doubt about it. You absolutely owe me one. And I think Cody would, for lack of a better term, acknowledge that. Yes. I didn't ask for his help. Who knows if that was what Arn was saying? I doubt it. When do you get to that? Is Cody Roman happening this year? Is Cody Roman happening at WrestleMania? A lot of you are bringing up The Rock. Absolutely. Cody's a babyface. Roman's a babyface. I don't know if Rock Reigns makes more sense than Rock Cody. I don't. They're going to both happen. There's too much money. But now, as we head into the back half, the back quarter of the year, third of the year, excuse me, SmackDown will tell a very big story. Bash at Berlin is 26 days away. Not a lot of time. That should be Gunther's show. I think that's pretty clear. I don't think Roman is wrestling on that show. What is Roman now? How often do we see Roman? That's the big part of this. Typically, you come back as a heel or from being a heel and you're a babyface. We see you. Cody's on every show. Seth's on every show. Rhea's on every show. Damian Priest is on every show. Those are all the big baby faces in the company. The big pushed baby faces. Where does Roman fit into that? What schedule is he going to have? Will there be backlash? Not the pay-per-view. I'm just saying, the actual term. Will there be backlash if Roman is not around a lot? I know every time I've seen that graphics. Roman Reigns returns. There's like a million of those because he would be gone for weeks or a month at a time or whatever. They come back. But what is Roman in the schedule? What he sold out? He made like $800,000 for the company based on selling out those Universal title. You know, the Eddie one up there. They made one for Roman for the Universal title, and they sold out of them. And he sold a bunch of T-shirts and 75 million views across all the platforms. Absolutely. So he's a moneymaker, that's clear. So's Cody. Now people are asking about SmackDown and Raw, and it's a hell of a problem for the company to have. It's the best problem in the world. And I have made the Rock Austin comparison, and a lot of people responded to my tweet saying the exact same thing. That they have two baby faces of a massive level at the same time. Hey, and WrestleMania 17, that converged to a title match. Austin incorrectly turned heel, as he would even tell you at the end of that match. But you have two guys super duper hot. I keep coming back to who stood next to Cena when he was the guy. Nobody. Randy was a heel. Randy was not at that level. Edge, whatever. Triple H. Two baby faces at the absolute apex of being moneymakers are now in the possession of WWE. One is going to end, I mean, it just makes too much sense. One will end up on SmackDown. One will end up on Raw. I do believe that. I can't see them really sticking with that. Don mentioned Punk. Punk was probably the closest to Cena, but they didn't go with it. They didn't let him be that guy. He should have been, but they didn't want to go with that. That would have been pushed differently these days. I will say that. And this is not about current day Punk. I'm talking 2011 Punk. He found something, and people gravitated towards him. And a lot of those people still gravitate towards him today. That summer of 2011 made him fans for life that will defend him, whether he's right, whether he's wrong. You know, last week, you can go back and watch it at thewrestlingmatchshow.com in the archives. I talked about Brawl Out and the reaction to that within WWE and him coming to backstage. And I saw people commenting that we're backing Punk and back. Those fans were made in the summer of 2011. Some were with him beforehand. Some were with him through all of it. Some watched him fight in UFC. Some watched him write comic books. Some watched him do that show Heel. Some have watched everything he's done. But the company didn't get behind Punk in the way they are clearly behind Cody and Roman now. And it's a much bigger company with a much wider reach, and they're making more money than ever, and it's a perfect storm. It is a company that knows how to handle what they have. And that can make the most of having Cody and Roman. From a marketing standpoint, no question, no concern, they'll make so much money. But what does that look like creatively? Is Roman, I'll ask you guys in the chat, who's the number one babyface in the company right now? Is it Roman Reigns or is it Cody Rhodes? Chat, you know what to do. Just who's number one? And if you want to put reasoning, I'd love to see that too. Who's the guy? Who is the guy in WWE right now? Is it Roman? Is it Cody? You want to throw a little explanation on there? That would be helpful. I'd love to know your reasoning. So many people, as I put that out there, I want to read some of my tweets that I got about this over the weekend. Just looking, just a snapshot. Some people saying that, you know, even Roman coming back, you got to bring up Cody. Somebody said that happened when Heyman got powerbombed through the announce table. That made Roman the top babyface. A couple people said that was always going to happen. It's slowly been building up, and his pop on SmackDown blow the roof off the house. People just straight up saying yes. Somebody here said, I don't know if that has completely happened, but it is on the road. The WWE has to be careful not to overshadow the World Championship and not to shove him down the fans' throats. People stop caring about it. I'd argue he accomplished that months before. Cody just got lugered, somebody said. He did it easily. Seeds planted for a Cody heel turn. Now, a lot of you are saying Roman. Good point brought up that Reigns has been around longer when he's been the guy for the company. We're talking 12 years now. There you go. do you want to make the argument that so much of Cody has been tied to Roman? And when he's not been tied to Roman, what has that meant? Well, it was good with Seth, because I've seen people say that, and somebody else just brought that up too. I've seen people say that, and I go, well, wait a minute. When he showed up, it was all Seth. And then he got hurt, and he came back, and, okay, we're directing at Roman. Then he loses to Roman, and where does he go? Well, we go to Brock. We go to Dom for a second. We go back to Brock. Then he wins the tag titles, and he's dealing with Judgment Day, and blah, 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 and he wins the Rumble, and we're back to Roman. But he's been making money. He has remained a babyface. If you liked it or you didn't like it, and especially if you didn't like the fact that Cody didn't win at WrestleMania last year, I think it ended up being the right call because it added to the story. It wasn't obvious. What did he have to do? He had to fight his way back. I hated that he won the Rumble from 30. But I liked it that he didn't beat Roman. It was too easy. He comes back. They don't make it a surprise. You make everybody wait the whole Rumble. You know he's coming out at 30. You know he's winning. He wins the Rumble. It felt too easy. So then this year, when The Rock's thrown his way for various reasons, real and in storyline, Cody becomes the guy. Okay, there's the crowning. Here's the big, beautiful picture at the end of WrestleMania. Let's put Triple H out there. Let's put his family out there. This is a new era of the company. This is an Endeavor era of the company. Vince is gone. Blah, 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 blah. Cody, front and center. Great way to launch things. Made total sense. But absence clearly makes the heart grow fonder. And the other part of this is we haven't gotten this Roman Reigns before. This is what they wanted from the jump. And it was done incorrectly. Not that he wasn't a draw, not that he wasn't a big deal, but he never got to Roman as a babyface, the first run. After the Shield, winning the Rumble, with The Rock's help, getting booed, losing to Brock, beating Triple H, beating Sheamus, all that stuff they threw in his way. He never got to the level Cody's been at as a babyface. But now that it's been handled correctly, where he had that run of dominance, that earned him respect, that earned him the love of everyone because they knew how good he was. Yeah, did you get pissed off at the end when he was winning titles the way he did or retaining titles the way he did? Sure. But there was still, you went to shows, and I watched this live in the building, on television, when I worked there, when that music hit, it was a moment of the night. People came for that. A lot of people just wanted to hear it, do this, get to experience the entry. And that's wrestling. That's a good thing. People want to hear Seth Rollins music, and they want to sing that. You want to get some of those experiences. You want to get some of those parts of the show. You want to hear Cult of Personality. It's like when Cena came back and fought Roman at SummerSlam a couple years ago, and he did the house shows, and he did the dark matches. That wasn't for him to be on TV. That was to give people the experience. Hey, he's here. Who gives a shit if he's on Raw or he's on SmackDown? People in the audience and a lot of little kids were very happy to hear do, no matter when it happened. And he was doing tags against the Bloodline, with Dom and Ray when they were babyface tag champs. Sure. It's just to get the experience. Roman now, there's no reason to boo him. Everybody's going to be on the same page, I would think, of we love this guy. My God, we love this guy. We respect this guy. He's great. D. Brown saying Roman was very entertaining as a heel. The Tribal Chief has been his best persona, hands down. Absolutely, of course it was. But there was a respect that came with it, and that's the promo I want to hear him cut. Something I talked about on the show. hey, I did what I had to do. I don't want him to change much. It's just who is his anger? What is his focus? If the focus just gets put on the bloodline and gets put on heels, it's the same. It's the same Roman. Tom said, Cody's the top guy in the territory. Roman is like Andre the Giant, coming in a few times a year to pop a big house, theoretically. Maybe? Perhaps. And I know some people said it now. Roman's going to be on SmackDown on Friday. Of course he is. What's the next appearance? Does he have to be on TV every week? Like, Punk's not really on TV every week. But Roman would go away for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time. But he could do that because you had the bloodline and you had Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was a proxy, just like Paul Heyman was a proxy for Brock Lesnar. But for the most part, Brock was a heel during that time, other than like a little, probably tiny part where he wasn't. And Roman was a heel for that time. You get angry he's not there. You still get excited to see him, but you get angry that he's not there. Now, people want to see Roman. When are they going to see him? You know, you're going to be keeping an eye on coming up. We're coming to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Is he advertised? You know, you see Cody was, I think, one of the first ones. Cody and Chad Gable. Putting up the schedule when they're going to appear. And Cody would put up, you know, those dark matches he would do when he was initially on Raw and then on SmackDown. So you knew, but he's working the house shows. And if you went to SmackDown before he was on SmackDown, hey, we're going to see Cody at the end of the night. And that matters. Maybe for us, when you're older, you go, oh, that's not TV. I know who's going to win this match. But it is still cool to get the entrance. It's like going to a dark match is basically a house show. You pretty much know the finish. Nothing crazy is really going to happen, but you get the experience. You get to be part of the Cody Rhodes entrance. You get to do the whoa. For Roman, you get to throw the finger up. Rob said, Roman's contract likely has him working 4.5 months per year. The anchor most of that from January to April. You throw Saudi. I don't know that to be the case. He wrestled, like 11 matches last year? This year, he's at 3. He worked the 4-way at the Rumble and both nights of Mania. So Roman's got 3 matches this year so far. We haven't seen him since April in the ring. We haven't seen him since April until 2 nights ago.